All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We don't have our clicker. Oh, we got to get our clicker. Oh, there we go.
So, LSIC. LSIC's been busy. We've been busy this year. We've done a lot of cool stuff. This is actually an example of some of the really good stuff that's been happening. You know, the community, you guys asked for stuff, and there was a big conversation about, hey, we really want to know how to engineer for the moon. We really want to know, like, how to actually worry about building hardware. So what did we do? We created Lunar Engineering 101. Yeah. And I think that's just a great example of how you wanted it. Now it's here.
Yeah, so if you're, trying to onboard, figure out how you can be a part of this, lunar technology development, we got a lot of terrestrial technologies that are figuring out how they can have their place on the moon. This can get you your footing and give you some direction for some of the most critical things to consider. Pretty easy to find on our LSIC site. You go to lsic.jhuapl.edu, and then it's right under Resources, Lunar Engineering 101. You can find it right away. Watch those videos. If you have questions, if you want to see more details, there's resources, there's citations. Milena put in probably 150 citations into the paper that's about it, so you can find all
I want to give Milena a round of applause for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna give Milena. This was a lot of work. And it's going to keep growing, and we're going to keep adding to it if needed, and that is a great tool that we have.
Yeah. So yesterday, we heard a lot. We heard a lot yesterday. I don't know if you realize it. Was reflecting last night. From Clayton, we heard about the public-private collaboration and how we're driving towards commercials involvement, all this stuff. It's been a theme of ours for a long time. From John, we heard about lunar permanence and Blue Origin's stable vision. I was really impressed with not just, we're going to try it once, if it doesn't work, we're going to move on, but they're going to try it and they're going to keep to it, which was really, really great to hear. We heard a lot of kid and launch stories.
Yes.
That was really fun. What I loved most about yesterday, though, was that we saw stuff in flight and actually on the moon. This was our first meeting where we're able to see videos of tech that we had considered, 5 years ago. Maybe we could try to fly this. Maybe we could try to develop this. Bam, it's on the moon. It's operating. It is throwing regolith all over the place. So that was amazing to me. And we heard from Nikki talking about Lyft and how we work together for infrastructure that works together, right? That's pretty important. Today we're going to hear from all of you in the breakouts. And the feedback that you give through the panel, or through the posters and the Post-its that Karen was talking about in the breakouts that we're going to go and talk, that's the stuff that we feedback and allows NASA, Nikki, to be informed when they're making decisions about things like Lyft she was talking about. So we're making that happen.
Yeah.
And we don't want to just talk about it. We want to talk about the people who are actually doing this stuff.
Exactly. So we've talked about 5 years. We've talked about the growth. Jason hit on this yesterday. This is a lot. When this was started, there was not 3,500 people. Like, that's a little bit insane. And every month when we see the new members that are being added, it is insane to see how much we've grown. And with that, we want to get the community a deeper involvement to really start working together. Me and Wes do not want to talk anymore because we want to make sure we leave the rest of the time for our team that's doing the hard work. So we're going to pass it along and let Anthony start.
We don't want to talk, but we probably will still sometimes. So, or maybe they don't want us to.
All right, well, thank you very much. All right, so welcome everyone. It's great to see a lot of familiar ISRU faces and some new folks as well. We in the ISRU capability area are excited for the rest of 2025. We have a lot of great ways for you to deepen your community involvement as well. Starting with the ISRU workshop, we hope that you can join us on July 16th for our workshop, which will focus on the testing, interfacing, and funding for ISRU systems. So we'll hear lessons from successful networks of test facilities and see how we can apply those lessons to integration and testing campaigns for ISRU. We'll explore various oxygen from regolith systems and their interfaces, and we'll also discuss tips for securing non-governmental funding to help further your ISRU R&D. And we are also working the Oxygen from Regolith, or O2FR, system study. And the goal here is to enhance community understanding of ISRU at the system level. We do that by investigating the interdependencies between ISRU functions, as well as looking at how interface parameters move from one subsystem to the other. And the goal there is to promote compatibility of ISRU at the system level. So we hope you can join us. That will be a virtual event, and the registration will open in the coming weeks. Also, water ice. So water ice continues to be a topic of interest in the capability area, specifically understanding the form, distribution, and abundance of water on the moon, and how those inputs can enable better design for systems that can utilize those resources. And last but certainly not least are our monthly meetings. These are held the third Wednesday of each month. And if you haven't noticed, today is the third Wednesday of the month. But I'm telling you, don't click that link. Do not join. It'll be a very lonely place on Zoom.
This is the ISRU meeting, right?
This is the ISRU meeting, right? So we want you here, but do not worry. Come June, we will resume our normal schedule. And if you haven't been, they're great meetings. We host guest speakers from government, industry, academia, nonprofit organizations who will speak to their ISRU specialty. We save time at the end for you to interact with our speaker for Q&A. These meetings are also a great avenue for networking. So it's a large community. You're bound to run into someone who is working on a similar challenge as yourself. And if you'd like to share some of your accomplishments or your research or technologies, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to hear your interest in that. Oh, I guess I do the next slide.
I think that's what you said is really important. I'm not sure everybody understands that. Like, if you reach out and you say, I have a really good topic and I think it fits in, we most of the time will make it work, because part of our goal is to get all the information out there and get companies heard. So he means that when he says it. Reach out to us if you have something you want to share.
Yeah, I really do. And you can scan that QR code. That's our facilitator email. So you can reach out to us about speaking, about any general questions or comments, or even for subject matter expertise. We really will be happy to hear from you. And for our breakout, the theme will be from lunar regolith to Martian soil. You can see this lovely Venn diagram above is binning different technologies as applied to oxygen from lunar regolith, polar water mining on the moon, and Martian ISRU, and a combination of all three. So we'll discuss synergies between these technologies that could be applied to Mars, as well as key differences that should be accounted for. And we will also get into scaling. So how should we scale ISRU for a sustained presence on the moon, as well as supporting travel to Mars? We look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Jibu.
My name is Jibu Abraham. I have the privilege of co-facilitating the Excavation and Construction Focus Group, along with Sada Hasnain, who's online. When we think about excavation and construction, it's the ability to tame and manipulate soil and structures. But before I get into some of these items that we're doing in the Excavation and Construction Focus Group, I want to just give us a sense of scale and the why for the first item here called link. If you were to sum up the amount of soil or dirt or regolith we've manipulated robotically between the moon and Mars, it'd be on the order of 70 kilograms. So less than one Jibus, less than one me's, right?
Good scale.
Now, if you needed to just prep the site for an average size house, 2,500 square foot house, right, before you laid any concrete, about how many dump trucks worth of soil do you need to move? What do you guys think? 6, 10, 1? You need about 15. Now, my Colorado School of Mines people who are here probably correct me, but on the order of about 15 dump trucks. Now, let's scale that to the moon. If you needed to prep the site for a 50-meter landing pad, right, you would probably need to move 150 dump trucks worth of soil. So that would fill this Kosikov Center about halfway, right? So that's orders of magnitude difference in the resources you need to manipulate soil and structures from where we are right now. And we can't do it alone. We've realized to do this, we really need each other. So we are partnering for an activity called LINC, Lunar Infrastructure Collaboration, where we think through what are the interactions to get to that minimum viable system on the moon. Not just an excavator, but excavator coupled with surface power, coupled with autonomy, coupled with ISRU, to make an ecosystem that works for this community from the ground up. So that's where Link comes in, where we'll have regular meetings to support that. So if you're interested in thinking through what systems and structures and what interactions need to work together, and in particular, what do we need to do first, right? Before we can get to 50 people and your grandkids living on the moon, what do we need to do now the next 5 to 10 years? Additionally, we have a lot of exciting things going on. We have a maintenance and repair workshop in September. I'll touch on this in the next slide. And we have super exciting monthly meetings, right? Where are my E&C people? Anybody here?
Can I count myself?
All right, yeah, we're super, super excited, you can tell. And we meet on the last Wednesday of the month. Can you go to the next slide? I have the next slide.
You can.
Now, one of the less glamorous parts of excavation and construction is thinking about repair and maintenance. But if you don't repair and maintain your structures, they'll fail in the short term. So come to our breakout where we'll think through the business case for maintenance and repair, think through trade-offs that shape our approach to the lunar systems, what are the risks and drivers, what systems and structures do we need available for maintenance and repair. With that, I'll hand it over to Sean.
Alrighty. Good morning. My name is Sean Young. I'm one of the co-leads for the Service Power Capability area, along with Julie Peck and Jacob Garrett. I think both are out in the audience somewhere. If y'all would wave. You'll hear me say a number of times over this that we are very interested in what you have to say about how the capability area is being run, as well as your any problems or issues you are having. So please come and talk to one of the three of us if you have power questions or comments over the course of this conference. So just wanted to give a quick overview of things that we are doing right now. So one is this study we are calling VSAT plus what. We heard a lot yesterday about successful technology demos on the lunar surface, and also heard emphasize the need to transition novel technologies into institutional capabilities and infrastructure that we can rely on. And we think the best way to do that is to get technology onto the lunar surface and test it early on, and proving that we can generate large amounts of power on the surface of the moon, I think is a high priority thing to be doing. But the question is, if you have all that power, what do you want to do with it? And what other technologies can you demo alongside it? So that could be other power technologies, or a tech from ISRU, ENC, or autonomy, or sensors to better understand the lunar environment. So this is a very, we're in the early stages of this, and we're kind of in fact-finding mode. So if you have ideas about this, please come and talk to one of the three of us, and we will make note of it. I'll also mention Jibu had talked about Link. It's on the ENC slide, but it's really cross-capability area. So I encourage you, once the announcement for those meetings come out, if you're in the power community, we definitely want to hear your voices there too. Also up on the slide, so save the date for September 25th of this year. That will be when our power workshop is. The topic is still tentative. Vaguely, and we need a better title than what I'm about to say, but we are considering power applications across scales. So really wanting to understand what the demand is for for small amounts of power all the way up to the multi-kilowatt scales of power. Again, if you hate that, if you love it, please come and talk to us. We'll be talking about it over lunch, and we want to hear about it. And then lastly, every month, like every other capability area, we have a meeting. It's the fourth Thursday of the month. We are always interested in hearing about new topics, about new technologies, things that you think the community really needs to hear about. So again, if you have ideas and want to pitch a topic or want to pitch yourself or your technology and get the word out there about the things that you are doing, please come and talk to us. Or if you scan the QR code, you can email us. It'll hit all three of our inboxes, and we can set up a time. So, and then right after this, we will be going into our surface power breakout. Everyone should be familiar with the Moon to Mars architecture document. We've been primarily focused here on power systems for the lunar surface, but with the idea in mind that Mars is along the roadmap at some point, we're interested in understanding what crossover technologies exist between Moon and Mars, and what additional work you need to do to make the transition. So with that, I'll hand it over to Lindsey.
I want to say something real quick. I think you're seeing in these breakout rooms that we are incorporating Mars. What I first want to say is, we love the moon. We're not leaving the moon. No. But I want to say that it's one of those, we're talking about Mars as a future destination. So we really want to start thinking bigger of what changes, what tweaks, what things do we already have that exist would work in both. So keep that in mind when you're going through this, because we really want to start looking at both of them.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Lindsey Tolis. I'm the LSIC lead for Crosscutting Capabilities, along with Dr. Melina Graziano there in the front row. As everybody else said, if you'd like to have a conversation, please come find us. We are very, very busy in cross-cutting capabilities. We're a little different than the other focus areas. Instead of focusing on one particular technology, we take a sort of everything but the kitchen sink approach, I think. We talk about all topics that have to do with all the technology development on the lunar surface. So you will hear us talk about domains like environmental protection, dust mitigation, mobility, autonomy, sustainability, logistics. Those are really big topics, and I think you'll find us involved with most of the things that my fellow focus area leads here have talked about on some level. I think, and I hope you all will forgive me for saying that conversation within the community is important everywhere, but it's particularly essential within the cross-cutting capabilities community. We deal with such complex topics that touch everything. So the first bullet on this slide is confluence, because we have a really great space there for you all to talk to each other, not just to us, not just to NASA. We've had some really great collaborations come out of those conversations. We have a who's who page, we have event pages, we have topic pages. We really encourage you to check that out and essentially talk amongst yourselves, please. In addition, of course, if you'd like to talk to us, we do have our networking lunches at spring and fall meeting. It's always nice to put personalities and faces to those names we see on the telecons, so we encourage you to come chat with us, and also, of course, with your fellow community members. And as my fellow leads said, please volunteer to present. I don't think as a lead I've ever said no to anybody who has said they have a topic they would like to talk about. So we're interested in what you're doing. We want to help you promote that and find those collaborators that you need. So please reach out to us. The QR code on the screen there will get you our facilitator email. And thankfully that reaches our whole team so that you don't have to rely on my inbox skills individually. So. Within the community right now, we're working on so many projects, but I wanted to call your attention to a couple of things in particular. One, we are starting a conversation on lunar data, particularly what kind of data the community needs, as well as helping improve access to that data. There's a lot that's out there already. There's a lot more coming. Everybody's been following the CLIPS landings. That data is coming soon, and we'd like you to be able to get a hold of it if you can. So we're going to be starting that conversation on our July 17th telecon, accessing lunar data. We're going to be talking a little bit about how to access what's out there already and also some plans for the future. In addition to the lunar data, we're also talking about LINK. We're one of the members that are doing that work, support and collaboration. Particularly, CC is involved with mobility infrastructure and environmental protections right now. We're going to be reaching out on some of those topics to members of our community in the near future, but as always, if you have something to contribute, we want to hear from you. Again, QR code on the screen will get you our email. And particularly, within mobility, we are talking about, or we're interested in finding more about mobility roadblocks. Mobility is one of those technologies that is advancing access for everybody else. And so it's so foundational that we really need to get those roadblocks out of the way now so that those capabilities are ready when we need them. So again, we're going to be reaching out to some stakeholders, but please email us if you have thoughts or questions about that. Unlike the other focus areas, we do not do quite a monthly cadence on our telecons, although it has sort of ended up that way this year. We have so much to talk about. So June 25th, we are doing a telecon with the Excavation and Construction Group on habitation. We'll be talking about cross-cutting capabilities topics within habitation. And then, of course, again, July 17th, accessing lunar data. Cross-cutting capabilities is also a little bit unique in that we are the only focus area that has our community-led special topic meetings. These are 6 areas where our community members actually lead generally a monthly talk over Zoom where they can really get into the details of these different technologies in a way that we can't reach during our regular telecons. So really great conversations happen there. If you want the details on those, like I said, they meet roughly monthly. Time, Zoom links, the emails of the facilitators are all on Confluence. So again, we encourage you to look there. There's also quite a number of resources that these folks have put together in our 5 years in LSIC, including our vacuum testing document, which I strongly encourage you to check out. It's very thorough, a lot of collective wisdom in that work. So that's a great place to reach out. In addition, like Wes and Jamie mentioned, Lunar Engineering 101 was the sort of the brainchild of Dr. Milena Graziano and the cross-cutting capabilities group. I'm told that there was some issue with the video streaming early on, so if you were having trouble with that, I think we have solved that issue. We really encourage you to go back and watch those videos again. We know that's a great resource for the community. And if you have feedback about that, we're happy to take that as well. All right, and last but not least, the cross-cutting capabilities breakout room after this session. If you have tuned into our telecons the last couple of months, we've been talking about sustainability and the many, many actors who are working in that realm right now. We'd like to get into the details a little bit today. We sort of tongue-in-cheek call this reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm a child of the 90s. It was kind of a thing back then. But we're going to be talking about the specific details of what materials you would anticipate reusing or recycling on the lunar surface and the technology that is necessary to make that happen, and kind of the larger discussion about your role in the cislunar circular economy as well. And with that, I think Wes and Jamie are taking back over.
Yeah, we can take over. We've got a bunch of questions coming in too. I think a lot of these, what I wanted to kind of bookmark at the end of this panel too, this is a lot of the stuff that you guys are planning on doing next, right? So this is a bit of a preview of some of the things that you can get involved with over the next year. So if something piqued your interest, I see some questions coming in that are relevant to some of the things that the panel was talking about. Yeah, join our meetings and we can start getting you in full, meet us here, go to the breakouts. That's how we can drive the direction of this so that we make sure that we're meeting your community's needs and then also feeding that up to NASA. So this is a lot of what's doing next. next. There's a lot of questions coming in. We're not going to have a chance to get to all of them because we're going to have to get to those fun breakouts where you can communicate more directly face-to-face. But the questions that we don't answer, you know, our job isn't done when this meeting ends, right? We go back and do our day job. And we carry that forward into those meetings that the focus groups have, into our internal planning, into all the stuff that we're feeding back to NASA. So yes, all of that, don't worry if we don't answer exactly your question. Please put it in. We'll be able to still carry it into our future. One thing I did also want to say, one of the themes that came out from all of the panelists is that this is community-led and community-informed, right? So all the way down to CC, Lindsey, you were talking about the special topic meetings, which are led by the community. This is an amazing thing, right? This is something you want to do. We give you a little bit of a platform to do it, and then you can tell us all those amazing things that are down deep in the weeds that you need to know if you're going to actually be flying stuff to the moon. So that's something that I wanted to foot stomp on that. Let's see. I don't know. Are there any other really interesting ones you want to be?
Well, there's one, and I'll let you guys
You all
talk to it
don't
too.
get
I
to
think
see,
it's a conversation between us. It's the highest upvoted is how is LSIC coordinated with other lunar community organizations? I actually feel like that's all we do, right? I know that sounds like we do all these amazing things, but we take meetings and have conversations. We're having joints up with Logic, with guests that come.
Eggsla,
Yeah,
yep.
there's so many things that we're doing. We've been talking
Open Lunar
to
Seer, there's a whole bunch of them.
ASCEND folks,
Yep.
like all these conversations happen all the time in the background because we want to make sure that at least on our high level, we're not being redundant of each other and we're helping each other and we're complementing each other. I don't know if you guys want to hit on anything specific to a meeting where you've worked with another organization, but I know we have. Just can't think of them off the top of my head right now.
Well, you all can say that.
ISRU is big on
Yeah.
SRR, and I know we have some folks from School of Mines here, so I mean that's a solid one from the community. If you haven't been, highly recommend going to Space Resources Roundtable in Golden, Colorado. That's one.
Yeah, and we're the Excavation Construction Focus Group. We're connected to organizations like ISRU that organizes the Earth and Space Conference, as well as soon to have lunar guidelines for construction. So amongst the many other organizations we team up with.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's ever an organization that's not adequately represented, just let us know. We have a really low bar for entry into participating. We want everybody. I shouldn't say it's a low bar because it's high quality content, but it's a low bar for what you need to do to be involved.
We have another one here that says, where do inputs from the LSIC community go?
Everywhere? Is that
The
fair?
answer is everywhere and everybody. We do, everything that we get at this meeting gets put into a report. We share those out. We make sure we get high-level takeaways. It incorporates what we do into the next year. It incorporates what we do into our focus area meetings. You're getting this feedback every month. You guys are doing studies and reports under the LSI umbrella. I don't know if you want to
And
talk
we
about that.
do yearly surveys as well.
Yep. So all that is being incorporated. I think Nikki talked about that a little bit yesterday, that it is not going to a black hole. A lot of the things that we have done and the changes that we have made have been specific to feedback. Actually, one big one was why cross-cutting capabilities exist now, right? It used to be, my baby, extreme environments, and extreme access and dust, and I'm forgetting somebody, they're gonna yell at me, interoperability.
Operability, yeah.
And simulants. And we put them all together because we realized those are a little different. Those touch all the things, and we needed to treat that differently. And we decided to do that because the community said, the way you're interfacing these, it's not really working. So we're changing on a daily basis, I think, from feedback we're getting.
Yeah, and I just want to add too that I say this at every one of our spring and fall meetings. We read every email, we read every survey answer, we read every poll. Those things are not going into a vacuum. We are incorporating them into our meetings, into our conversations, and hopefully you're seeing those results in what we're doing on a month-to-month basis.
True story.
And if we're not serving the community, please approach us directly and email us if we're not hitting the interest from our month-to-month meetings or workshops. We really want to hear that. So we want to serve this community.
Live to serve. I've been really impressed. Like the meetings we've had so far this year have just been like, I feel like after 5 years, maybe I should know most of this stuff, but I'm still continually surprised at the stuff that's coming in. So thank you for that. There's a question about like the organizational structure of NASA and how we map into that. And I think we've always been infrastructure driven and technology development for the moon. And that's, going to be something that has to happen no matter what organizational structure gets applied. Eventually, right, we have to do these technologies, and it doesn't matter if they're mapped into a different, I think in terms of math. So like if it's a different basis, it's still the same, points that we have to be hitting. So I wouldn't worry too much about that insofar as how we're directly mapping into that. There's stuff that we have to do. We all know that we have to do it.
Yeah.
Got any
No,
more?
I'm reading.
Oh, it's too much reading.
There's so much good stuff in here. A lot of this stuff could, okay. Here we go. Could the panel, let me read this one. Could the panel discuss how the focus areas specifically work together? If we just attend cross-cutting capabilities working group meetings, is that equivalent to attending the other focus area meetings?
Oh, I want to take this one for sure, because cross-cutting capabilities, that's why we exist, is to work with the other focus areas for sure. First off, we're always in conversation with each other. It's not on the slides, but I've had a hand in all the workshops that are happening this year. We all discussed breakout room topics and how we could coordinate those both in the spring and the fall and with each other. I would absolutely encourage at least the cross-cutting capabilities community to please, please, please attend the other focus areas workshops, attend their telecons. They need your input, frankly, in the same way that you need to know how your technologies are being incorporated in other places. And so I would say no, actually, if you're at cross-cutting capabilities, you're not getting the full picture, and I would really encourage you to attend the other events.
And I'll add that it's often very helpful to the capability area whose meeting you are attending if you're not intimately familiar with that topic, because it helps us to identify gaps in our own thinking that we might be missing. So, for example, if a dust expert comes into a power meeting, we're showing a connector mating and demating a number of times, and it's like perfect every time, and there's no dust involved, and someone goes, wait, how is that even possible? like those types of things are very valuable whenever we talk across capability areas.
I will say, there's a lot of meetings too, so it is absolutely okay if you don't attend every one of these, and you can pick back in and always ask those questions and drive it forward. I'm going to ask one last question because I want to give everybody time to get in the breakouts and do those one-on-one things so we can dive deeper. So just as a question to the panel, maybe go through quick and say, what tech or topic really drives you to work together? And we'll start this time at Anthony and work on down.
So I think a lot of what the other panelists have already shared links well with what we want to get involved with. You see?
I like that.
Well played.
So with for example, with the excavation and construction link effort, a lot of the tie-ins are obviously the excavation rover. We need to get regolith into the ISRU pipeline. But with this new project, we can think a little bit more deeply about like the next kind of generation of infrastructure. So not just what are the rover's capabilities, but how can our partner focus area help us to understand or optimize like the pathways, so grading and paving roads between the excavation site, resource processing, the waste disposal, as well as to the end user. So lots of tie-ins there. The other focus groups as well, I would just say for power, like evaluating trades based on different CONOPS of ISRU reactors. So some may be continuous, some are batch. Are you going to operate in the night, or do you just need to survive the night? And what are the payload capacities to get power there? And for cross-cutting capabilities, from a systems level, I think we've seen a lot of autonomy that can be done for ISRU testing of a specific system, but it would be great to get a little bit more involved for how autonomy would work at a system level, kind of governing the entire assembly line of ISRU. So there's a lot of good opportunities, and those will continue to grow with the other capability areas.
When we think about excavation and construction, just going back to that image of the scale of activities to get from moving 70 kilograms to multi-metric tons of kilograms of regolith, or to assemble a structure. All of our activities are really power hungry, so working with the power team is essential to ensure that we map, the construction activities map with the available power, as well as autonomy is very key. It's a key enabling agent that will support excavation and construction, and then working hand in hand with the ISRU community in terms of not only providing resources to ISRU, but understanding what kind of stock metals, we're thinking long-term, could come out of that process that we can use as an input to ISRU construction.
Yeah, if we're talking tech that, well, so a key input for us is, as Jibu mentioned, sort of the demand for power. So both ISRU and ENC activities are very power hungry, and they have different needs for how often and how often they need to operate, which really drives what we are designing to. So understanding that demand in the near term really helps us figure out what we need to design to. I would say long term, you mentioned feedstocks. Having those feedstocks available to build cables, and there are projects out there doing solar cells from regolith. Understanding at what cadence those can come out really allows us to map out the available power over time that we can expect. And with all of that comes actual laying out sites, laying out where power will be generated for things like FSP. It needs to be far away from most of your activities. And so you need autonomy to interface with those things. And for most cases, you won't have humans up there, so you need autonomy to actually assemble everything. So yeah, all of that comes into power.
Yeah, for cross-cutting capabilities, it's not a single technology. It's thinking about the systems level approach. When you excavate, are you kicking up dust, and is it settling on your science equipment? When you're building a shelter, what's your radiation protection? What's your thermal protection? When you're connecting power cords, like Sean said, do you have a mating, demating protocol that will stand up to the environment? So for us, it's very much looking at not a specific technology, but about what enables all of these other technologies to function and to build this cislunar economy in a way that is sustainable and can go long term.
All right. I think it is time for breakout. Oh, we have a slide.
Yeah, we are exactly on
Look at that.
the money.
Perfection. Early in the morning. Ooh, I'm not the MC. Karen's going to tell you what breakout's like.
Okay. So we have a 10-minute transition to breakouts. This gives you time to refresh your coffee and then go straight to your breakout room. The breakout rooms are listed here. So if you want to hear more about what our great team has been talking about today, go to that breakout room, whichever one is your favorite. We will be back here at 11 for a panel. So we will see you then.
Seriously, go to a breakout room. I'm going to come find all y'all.
They're going to be great.